For those of you guys who aren't dancing full time, like how do you balance dance with other life commitments like work, school, and relationships?
Badly. That's how. I don't sleep a lot.
And the next time on Cat, no, I was kidding.
It's over.
Well, the perfect answer is, and then
The secret is.
Oh, okay, I'll go. Yay! Oh,
Hi.
hi. There's a dancer behind me.
Not anymore.
Let's see. I have been blessed to have a job that I've been at for 10 years now. So I have built rapport with my work that I take days off whenever I want because they're like, yeah, you just do a good job at work. So if you need to do a music video for a few days, see you in a few days, thankfully. But early, I learned that unless things are given to you, life's hard. So I first got my agent with DDO, who was Jim Keith.
DDO.
I know, DDO, who is now MTA.
Yeah.
But DDO was my first agency, and Jim Keith was my first agent. And I was living in Ontario at the time. Ontario, California, not Canada. It's the boring one. And having to go to auditions in Hollywood from Ontario was rough. And I used to work at a bank at the time. So banking hours are as usual, and my auditions would be like 4 or 5. I'm like, shit. Okay, how do I do this? Traffic from Ontario to Hollywood. If I leave at this time and do magic and elevate past people, and yeah, like that was rough. So there was a time where Jim and I were batting heads because I was like, I can't make this audition. And I specifically remember him saying, you know, what do you want to do then? Do you want to work or do you want to audition? And I was like, oh no. Well, work pays my bills. Auditions don't pay my bills. Jobs pay my bills if I book the audition, but that's if I book. And I can't pay on ifs. So I had to make a very hard decision at my younger age, not too far ago, that that
5 minutes ago.
I just couldn't. I had to work and figure out a way to maneuver things to dance differently. And eventually I got back to my, getting into an agency and getting to auditions again. And I have a different agent now and I'm still doing it. It just took me a while to adjust my life work-wise to make things fit. And I'm not struggling going, I can't pay rent this month because that is rough. For those of you guys who do that, props, because that is stress ball change that I don't have time for. So that is amazing. And then as far as relationships go, let me know. Because I'm still trying.
Again, the question was,
That's a loss.
Yeah, how do you find balance between other life commitments like work, school, or relationships?
Let me know. That's the hard part. My thing is, you have to find somebody who also likes or loves and appreciates your passion for dance.
Gets it, yeah.
Because, and it doesn't have to be they're also a dancer, although that might help. But if somebody has a passion, then there's like, okay, I have my passion, what's yours? Cool, I respect and love that, you respect and love mine. But if somebody's like, we need to be together all the time and always then that's just not gonna work.
I gotta dance.
Right? Insert, I have dance rehearsal.
Yes.
Oh God, I
have
can't.
dance
I have
rehearsal.
dance.
Yeah, that's a usual phrase in our lives, I think. I have dance rehearsal.
I have rehearsal, I have a show.
I have rehearsal.
Audition.
I have a shoot.
Yeah.
I have a shoot.
I'm gonna be coming back from so and so.
Yeah. It's like, you want to hang out at like 9 p.m.? Like, I'm still at the shoot.
Yeah.
I think relationship-wise, it's very interesting because it's like my past relationship. The biggest thing that was definitely a difficulty was that like I even stated to her that dance is my first love. Like it's a very hard, which is but
dance is my
but,
slut.
Like
Dance is my slut.
What? And next time.
I just show up to dance whenever I feel like.
I just nip clamps. I'm just.
Wow.
Whoa.
Burlesque.
This is why I don't do the podcast. This is why.
No, this is why you have to do the podcast.
I don't know where that came from.
But, but at least in our relationship, like, but the honest truth is that it was true in my case. At the time, it's that like I prioritized dance a lot, and it was probably one of my few joys that I had in my life. So like, it was definitely at the time it was difficult to like find a balance between, oh, I need to spend time with myself. But I'm not trying to make it sound like a chore, but it's just how do I spend time with work, spending time with her, and then still be able to dance and still be able to like actually improve my craft when I had the time, you know. So it's just something that like I feel like a lot of dancers go through where it's just like, oh man, I need to take her to date, but there's this dance battle I want to go to.
That's the date.
There's
And that's
5v5.
and as stupid as it sounds, it's just like some dancers are. They just love it that much to the point where they're willing to sacrifice their bodies, their time, their sleep, just to do what they want to do.
Yeah.
So personally, like that was definitely a big difficulty when it comes to relationship is finding like a true like balance between that. And at least from my experience.
You said it was hard to like make dating this kind of a chore. I just had a thought for a bit.
Dance is my thought.
Of like, we're gonna go on a date, and actually it's a 2v2, and
Is that what you're gonna do with Lauren?
That's how it works, man.
Do that, Lauren.
and then he's like, oh, what are you signing up for? Oh, you'll see.
You'll see.
And I'm like, no, what are we family?
This is not the direction I wanted to go.
I was like, that was sweet, and then
Yeah,
it turned.
Everybody's just like he's like, oh, dance is my
We're just,
slut.
we're just gonna be with a couple friends. It's a 5v5.
Oh
So
my
why do you
God, that's funny.
That's how you balance everything.
Hilarious.
It's like, how did Max get there with a camera? Don't worry
I
about
mean,
it.
I get because we're all. What I like about this conversation is that we're all in like kind of different walks
Yeah.
in our lives, and it's hard to find a very general blanket term of balance because everyone has a different definition of balance.
Yeah.
So I would say like define what balance is for you first. That works for you
Yeah.
individually and with your partner. Because I know for me, I work a fuck ton, and Max and Lauren are there, and I have to literally have a sit down with them because if I don't plan it out, I'll be working all the time,
Yeah.
and then I have to plan out hangouts with them.
He forgets to eat.
I forget to eat a lot because I'm just in the zone. So and that's what works for me, and I think works with them because we plan it out and it's intentional and it's on the calendar.
Literally.
Yes, but that's how it's kind of been defined because I know because I'm working on this, I'm working on these other because I'm working on these businesses and it's heavily reliant on me putting in the time.
Right.
So if I don't do it, I equate that to the business is gonna fail. Even though it's not, but it's just like there's that. It's very different if you go show up to job and you're guaranteed hourly or salary. This is different. So and then then there's this kind of all-in mentality that I'm like, I have to do this in order to keep it growing. Regardless if I decide to go get a regular job for a bit, like at least if that fails, because I know I'm a shit employee, I talk back a lot. This will still be providing well.
Yeah.
And it's just communicating that a lot. And if things need to shift, emotions shift, I need to be mindful of what are the items that I feel okay finishing. So that way it's almost like a releases pressure because there have been moments Max has seen me, like they've both seen me like that. I'm just like, I need to get this done and I'm hanging out with them. And that's even worse.
I have a few things actually. One,
Commenting on my love life?
no. Let's go back to your love life. No, so one thing that I forgot to mention that I think is super important is I think society at large downplays dance. So
Yes.
subconsciously we downplay dance in our heads,
Mm-hmm.
but really as dancers, that's our love, it's our passion. So it's really self-care to most people to dance. It's not just like a thing. It's like, no, this is my self-care. It's like sometimes people are like, oh, I need to go to therapy, I need to cry it out. Sometimes people just need to dance, and that's their self-care. So I think in my years as I'm getting older, I'm like, that's my thing. That's what I need. So it's not like a thing. It's not a hobby. Although sometimes it can be. It's like it's a hobby. It's a job. It's my stress relief. It's my stress builder. It's everything, but it's me. So I feel like that's a really big part that we see it as a necessity, not an accessory. And I think, again, it goes across the board. So mine is dance. My partner's maybe something else, and that's okay. But I think realizing that first. Also, when we talked about this in previous things, when your family's like, oh, why don't you get a real job, or like that, like putting like comments like that, or little things that are left there that subconsciously you're like, oh, I feel bad because I want to dance, but that's something so stupid. And it's like, actually, it's not stupid. It's just your thing. And then a side note for me, dance keeps me young. Like, you have to stay on top of the new fashions, on top of the new trends, on top of the new music that's coming out. So as I'm getting older, I still have like a fun young energy, and I find it 22.
Happy 22nd birthday.
22 and a half. But as I'm getting older, I still have a really young, fun energy. So it's really making it interesting for me to find a partner, because people that are typically my age are like don't look like this. They don't look like this. They don't look like this, but also they don't act young or do fun young things. And I think that is what I'm struggling with in my current dating age, because
That's true.
I don't know. It's so odd. Like, I don't know. People my age are just like, we're gonna have wine and wear Speedos at a yacht. I'm like, oh.
Wow, that was very specific.
Whoa, yeah.
Yeah, it's like,
Welcome to WeHo.
I want to see.
But yeah, like
Brandon's DMs.
that-
It's like, what are these people inviting you to do?
that kind of thing. I'm like, I don't like that. I'd rather just go to like a session or like do things like that. So in my older age now, I'm
Can I
like,
dance
oh, this
on
is
the
really
yacht?
weird to have a young, fun, grounded energy and be like. The dancers, the cast here, we're so widespread in ages. So my friends group are like 21 or like 40, So it's like there's a really, really broad spectrum on the people and the types of people that I hang out with on the daily. So it's really weird.
Yeah.
It's very weird.
I want to hear from the youngsters.
yeah.
You guys are going.
Yeah.
Doing
Well,
school
I mean,
and
Brandon's
dancing.
22.
Brandon's 22.
That's
Brandon's
young.
22.
22 fucking hundred.
Single.
Skippity toilet. Is that right? Am I doing it right?
It is Skibbity Toilet, yes. It's Delulu also.
Oh, no.
I don't know. Right now, like my life is so packed right now because I'm just finished school. I just need to take this big test. And I'm just trying really hard for it. My girlfriend over there is working 9 to 5. So it's come to the point where we're in this relationship timeline where we are working on ourselves but still want to be together. And it's super weird because the only times we hang out is dance. Like we have like general scheduled timing. Otherwise, they're like, "Hey, want to hang out? Okay, I have to do this, then we can hang out." But only scheduled time is when we're dancing and we're with you guys, And that it's very weird because it feels like I don't know about you, but like we're taking our whole pause and progressing our relationship to work on our lives. And it's to better ourselves, to better both of our futures together and separate. And it's weird because, again, like how you said, it's balance. And so far, this is us like putting little grains of rice on the balance, being like, okay, we could add that. We could add that. We could add that. No.
Too much.
Everything just goes.
And so
I like
far,
rice.
this is...
I like rice.
Same.
And, as things evolve, as time changes, like, you have to take out some pieces of grains of rice. It's weird.
Yeah, for me, I've always been on the run. I've had a lot on my plate regarding family, relationship, dance, work, school. So right now, I think for the longest time, I've either worked, did school, had a relationship, and still had dance at the same time. Maybe when I was like 20. So I think when I was younger, I was having a hard time trying to find a balance on all that. And then now I think like as Justin said, we're trying to work on ourselves while still being in the relationship, while working, because him and I have now had this mentality where we're like, let's get this done now that we are young so that we don't have to worry about it when we're older. So let's have a good career now. Let's work hard now so that by the time we are 25, 30, 40, all we have to do is
Still young.
enjoy it.
Still young.
Yeah.
Still young.
That's still young. That's still young.
Still young, but like as we grow, as the economy continues going,
Yeah.
at least we'd be able to be semi-stable without having to worry about like, okay, there's no way I can afford dinner right now. So, for me, I worked my 9 to 5. I was able to find a job since I didn't get accepted into any of the schools with my AA, I had to do Plan B, literally. So I found Plan B since I found out I couldn't get into any of the schools. My Plan A was kinesiology. That's my degree. I applied to a school for kinesiology, failed. I didn't get into any of them. And so I was like, I can't wait too long. I need to put money somewhere. So I went straight to medical assisting, paid my tuition in full. And then, because I had prepared to go to a 4-year, and since that didn't happen, I just used whatever I had in my savings to pay for another sort of like school. Paid that in full. And then I had to quit my job because I was like, there's no way I can be able to do this, still have dance, and still have this relationship, and then still help my family while having this job. So I was unemployed for 8 months until I got my job now, medical assisting, and got an hour kind of. I hate the hours, but it's okay because it's the most ideal. It's 9 to 5. I don't get out too late. I don't get out too early. And I have my weekends free. Leaves time for dance, but also leaves time for my relationship, because that means I have my weekend free to do whatever he wants. And since we're both busy Monday through Friday, I'm like, well, weekends are the most ideal.
This sounds healthy.
Yes.
It's very healthy.
What's interesting though is like
I want
you're
more
saying
rage.
what you guys are doing right now is like planning for your future, and I think part of the reason that it's hard for dancers in general to get into relationships where people don't understand is that if you're actually trying to be a professional dancer forever and that's like your main gig, then you are always working and hustling. Like there's no dance career, full-time dance career that isn't a hustle.
Yeah.
Even after you make it in the industry and you land a big job, you still that job boosts your resume for sure, but you still have to book the next job and
Yeah.
book
Yeah.
the next job and
Yeah.
book the next job.
Yeah.
There's never a time where you're just I've got my job now and that's what I have as a professional dancer. And so I think that
Yeah.
the interesting thing is like being able to be with a partner who understands like this is the lifestyle that I'm living, and I am never going to be in a place of settled until I retire from being a performer.
Yeah.
And your partner has to accept that. And I also think it's important in relationships for you both to have your own hobbies. Like my husband, he's really into jiu-jitsu. He does jiu-jitsu and like, well, I don't even know, Muay Thai and kickboxing and all the things. But he like competes jiu-jitsu. And I love that he does that because for him, he'll have times where he's like cutting and times where he's bulking and times where it's like he's so focused on like doing this and doing that. And I get it. And so I like respect that he's doing that. He's like, I can't hang out tonight after I get off work because I have to go do this for 2 hours. And I'm like, cool beans, whatever. Like, it is what it is. We make time for each other. But if he didn't, because he works a normal job, he's a software engineer. If he didn't have that, I feel like it might be harder for him to understand what I'm always doing. But even like today, I was going to leave the house. He's like, where are you going? And I'm like, oh, I have this podcast filming. And he's like, okay. He like cannot keep up because my weeks are literally
Hectic.
all over the place, like everywhere. But in order for me to do that, I actually work restaurant jobs. I don't know about you guys. And I work restaurant jobs because if they want to fire me because I can't go to an audition, there's a zillion other restaurants.
Yeah.
I've been fired from like 7 restaurants since I moved to LA. Well, like either fired or soft fired, where they just stopped scheduling me. I'm still technically employed at one, and they just haven't scheduled me in like 3 weeks. I'm like, well,
Cool.
but like I don't care. they stopped scheduling me 2 weeks ago. Last week I got another job at a new restaurant.
Dude,
It is what it is.
I feel you.
Like, and I like that that has to be your attitude in a certain way. Like, in restaurants don't care about you. They don't care about their employees. So why do I have to care that much? Like, really? Like, they don't care about their employees so much that they, like, take my tips to pay the cooks. Like, bro. Okay. But, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they don't care. So why should I care that much? And I want to be a dancer. So for me, I will drive Lyft a little bit sometimes if I'm really low on income. And then I work at a restaurant like 2 or 3 days a week. And that way my schedule's flexible. If someone asks me like, oh, can you be here? Even if I'm scheduled for work, I'll be like, yep, I can. And I'll just go out. And I know that's like so bad.
Dude, no.
But that's literally my attitude because
about
I
right.
would rather dance. I would rather do this. And like I said, I've been through 7 restaurants in the 2 years that I've been in LA, and
Soon to be
will
8.
I will find another
Consider
one.
this her letter
I will
of
get hired at
resignation.
another one. I will go in person. Like literally, I got soft fired. I went in person one day. I went around like in my area and went in person to like 10 restaurants. I only printed 10 resumes, and I got hired at one. Started the next week. Like there's a million. So if you can get in the restaurant industry, that's my suggestion to you.
Yeah.
I'm all.
So-
What's the restaurant? Again?
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's
It's different lifestyles.
It's different
it's
lifestyles.
very
yeah.
different in terms of like the.
And relationship dynamics will change regarding
Yeah.
whose lifestyle
Yes.
it is.
Yeah.
Like the same, like your lifestyle with your husband
So
is
different.
different compared to me and mine and Justin.
So
here.
different, but both are totally valid, and
Yeah.
both are different priorities,
and different methods of how.
yeah. And I plan on settling down one day. I already have a career set up. Like
Just
I
not
know, huh?
Just not yet.
Just not yet. Like I went to school for kinesiology, got that done out of the way, and then I know, right? And I could go back and get like my doctorate's degree if I want to become a physical therapist, right? It's like must be nice.
Must be nice.
I'm sorry.
Shove it in.
No.
There's a rage.
That's honestly the kind of
There's
same
the
mentality
rage.
I have like with marketing. I'm like, I remember getting hired in Santa Monica. I was like, all right, after a month, peace.
Yeah.
Because it was nicely paid, and I gave them a resignation letter. I'm like, I'm gonna leave. You just got hired. We'll eclipse what this other company is gonna pay you because they really wanted me to stay. I was like, nah, I'm leaving.
No.
Yeah.
I took another job in WeHo, and I took another, and I was like, all right. My goal was to be when my son was living here was to be closer to LA because I don't have to commute, and I wanted to be able to pick him up.
Right.
Santa Monica, by the time it's like 8 by the time I get back.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like, closer and closer. Like stayed at the one after that for 6 months, and then I was like, cool, I'm done, because I just needed money to pay the rent, but I'm gonna go back to doing my thing. Peace. So just like the very high risk, high reward, high stress, dude.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Sorry, you mentioned something that I do want to point out. That friend that I spoke about, that's a tour dancer. Tour dancers don't make a lot of money.
No.
Dancers
Say that.
don't make a lot of money.
They don't. And when I say
Even
he's a
on
tour
TV.
dancer,
But you have to-
he's
you have
literally.
to
I
make
can
it.
pull up his Instagram right now. Madonna, Britney, Dua Lipa, Janet, what's her name? Shania Twain. The list goes on. So these aren't like small artists. These are large artists.
You can Google what each artist pays their tour
Oh,
dancers.
yes.
It's like $1,000 a week at most.
So that.
At most.
And
That's a
yeah,
lot.
you would think like, oh, those are top people. You're making
Those
like
are like Beyonce.
500. No, not at all. Not at all. Not even 6 figures. Like, and you would think. So, like you going back to what you said, even if you do become a dancer, like you will be hustling, always
All the
hustling,
time.
Side gig
Constantly.
after side gig.
side gig, and if that's what you love, then that's the cool thing about it. Is like if you love it, and it's your passion, then it's not work. It's just fun,
Yep.
and that's cool. That's fantastic. I think that's what helped me in my job. My current 9 to 5 is a passion of mine as well. So it doesn't really feel like work as well as I get to dance, which is not really work for me either. So I'm like, cool. I found that nice little blessing, but that's not everybody's story.
There are stable careers in dance. Like before I moved to LA, I was a program director for a large dance studio. They have like over 700 students. They're a huge studio. And I was on salary and I was working full time and I was teaching a certain number of days a week. I got crazy bonuses for doing like comp dances and comp choreography. And I was making really good money. And I plan to go back to that. I love that job. I plan to go back to that job when I'm done performing. I might go back to school. I don't know. We'll see. But like, definitely I have at least that lined up. Like, I think that there are careers as being like a theater director, a program director for a dance school. Teaching dance is where you actually make more money than performing.
Yeah.
Like, way more money
That's why there's
teaching
a lot
than
of dance
performing.
teachers,
Yeah, so you can teach dance. I chose to not teach dance too much when I moved to LA. I only teach 1 day a week at one studio because it's not flexible. I would feel really bad if I was like, oh, sorry, got to peace out to go to this thing all the time, because I actually care about my teaching. I care about my students a lot. So for me, it's not flexible enough in that sense. But there is ways to make money with dance, but performing is not how you do it. Unless if you end up going on TV, you get some royalties. But even then, like, the dancers who are on, I know one of the dancers who was in the most recent Mean Girls, like the remake of Mean Girls, the musical, and like she didn't make crazy money from that. She was a dancer in the new Mean Girls movie. It's like, you would think like that's on the big screen. It was a huge deal, and it's not that much money.
Do you have something?
Steph, you brought up earlier that for you, like, oh, you have your hobby, and then if dance is like your profession. For me, it's interesting because mine's kind of the reverse, where dance is my hobby.
Yeah.
And so I'm sorry. Yes, I know I'm not qualified to sit next to this one.
No, you are.
No,
I
absolutely.
mean, nobody's dance journey looks the same, so it's so cool that we all have such different perspectives.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you're a loser.
Mine's a
remember
hobby.
that.
No, battle me, dude. Battle me. But it's about finding that balance. It really is. And the one thing that I think everyone here would agree on is that you have to be passionate about it.
Yeah.
If you do look at it like, oh, it is work, then in my opinion, you've kind of already lost the battle, and you're gonna end up letting it go. I teach full time at a high school, and I'm fortunate enough to come and hang out with you guys once a week on Sundays and have rehearsals. But if it were different, and let's say I was with a dance company that's like, yo, I expect 3 days a week from you, Ryan, then I don't think that that's something I'd be willing to give myself to. Just unfortunately. And that's not to say that I don't care about dance, and then just like Justin, it's, you got to figure out like where to put your grains of rice, and you got to figure out how to manage it, how to balance it. Bottom line, I was talking to a friend the other night. If it's something that you love and something that you're passionate about, I'm passionate about teaching. I'm passionate about the release I get from dance. You will find a way to make it work. So any one of you that's watching this that is like, oh, how do I do it? The struggles of trying to balance dance and also trying to go to school or to go to my 9 to 5. Your relationship. Communicate. That's something I've heard a lot of you guys say. Know how to communicate, whether it's with your job or with your partner, with your husband, with your wife. My wife's on Temper Tantrum as well. And, you know, she's phenomenal. She's amazing. Right now she can't be here because she's taking care of something at work. But she communicates with the board, and you guys know,
She's amazing.
when she has to be somewhere or when she can't go to a rehearsal.
Yep.
And we work with that.
Yeah.
The school that I teach at, they know that, oh, Ryan, you're also a dancer. So, you know, that's something that you love. It's something that you're passionate about. And the fact that they recognize that and they're willing to work with it is phenomenal.
Yeah, that's
If
great.
you don't have that and you have some employer or some boss that's like, yo, you dance, that's whack, or that's, oh, well, so you're not going to be here for your shift. I mean, sure, like you can stay with that business and you can stay with them, but I do think that that's going to eat away at you. And even just being around those kinds of people that don't respect your passion or your hobby, that I don't think that would necessarily be a good fit. But hey, you want to stay there because the money's good, like that's on you. But I'm very, very fortunate to be at places, whether it's my school or with my crew, that understand, oh, there's more to you than just this.
Yeah.
And with a partner that understands, like, oh, these things, teaching matters to you, Ryan. Oh, dance matters to you, Ryan. Sometimes dance will be put on the back burner. Sometimes teaching's put on the back burner. Sometimes my relationships put on the back burner. And it's a balancing act. So everything you guys have said has been like totally on point. There's no right way to do this, as you guys have heard. There's no right way, whether dance is your hobby, whether your job is your hobby, whether dance is your profession or performing is your profession or teaching dance is your profession, or you want to prioritize your relationship. Like, it's unfortunately, I don't think there's a right answer here.
It's
Go ahead.
Want to go first?
I'll go
Rock,
last.
paper, scissors?
I'll go
Everybody
last.
talk at the same time.
I'll go
Let's
last.
all at once.
Go first, because she hasn't spoken yet.
Okay, go ahead.
yeah.
No. Like out in terms of like dance and relationships, like outside of like romantic relationships. When I was 18, I think, when I was a child, I basically had a talk with my parents, and in terms of like, what are you doing with your life, blah blah blah, and I was like, I basically told them what they wanted to hear. I told them I wasn't good enough to pursue dance as a career, so therefore I will quit it. Period. I told them what I wanted to hear. I never cried in front of my parents. I never showed emotion in front of my parents, except for that one time. Because I was like, because it hurt to say. I basically gaslit myself into believing that.
Right.
So yeah, as a result, I didn't dance for 15 years. But like, I also kind of juggled. I like kind of threw the idea around as soon as like started getting full-time employment, making my own money, having my own insurance and all that. I was just like, okay, maybe this was before we were connected, and the partner I was with at the time was like, is that practical? Like, do you have time for that? I was like, oh, but maybe I don't. So like I was just like, oh, okay, so I guess I'm not dancing anymore. Period. And that sucks. Like it sucks to put this thing that you love to do on the back burner for that long of a time, and to basically believe that it wasn't for you just because some people said it wasn't for you. Nobody can say that but you.
True.
But yeah, that's it.
Claim it.
Go ahead, Mel.
Going back on what Ryan said regarding job, both him and I's partner is in temper tantrum, so automatically makes it helpful.
You are?
It's true.
You are?
You're cheating on me twice?
Automatically, I don't know how you feel about it, but it feels helpful because now there's a space that we both like to do, that we both put in our effort into. So like, it builds another bridge of commonality. We'd be like, hey, you wanna?
Gay.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, you wanna go to? We're going to dance practice.
The funny thing, and I haven't had this yet, so hey, knock on wood. I'm waiting for the day where Christina and I get in a huge argument Saturday night
And battle.
and have to show up to rehearsal Sunday.
We talked about that too.
and to just watch how you guys react when it's like, yo, why is
I would.
Christina so far away from her husband? And like the two of us like just aren't talking to each other. And now I think Christina's better at it than I am. I would straight up say that. I think she's really good at saying, hey, no, baby, we're working. We got to be professional. I don't think I can do that.
Me and Ryan wouldn't be, because Justin does the same thing. He is able to cut the balance between. I was like, I can't.
Yeah, and I'm gonna be all like, but I'd probably be the one like, hey, baby, are you okay? Exactly.
Shut the fuck up.
And 5, 6, 7, 8.
And then all
6, 7, go.
And then you guys would be watching like, yo, Christina's killing this choreography right now, and I'm like, and I'm gonna be all like, I'm not looking forward to being home.
Are you guys eating out after, or?
Like, please, we gotta hang out.
Ryan's
No,
like,
I'm not going back there.
I'm riding
not
with
going
you.
back there.
Hey, smells like a room in your car.
That's like when you're a kid and your mom says, wait till you get home.
Yeah.
When she says it with a smile, that it's bad. It's just bad. That means
Yeah.
everything's fine right now.
It's like, oh my
That's
god.
it, just right now.
It's like,
There
yo,
you go.
Chris.
It helps that we have our partners on this team.
It does.
And job too. My coworkers have found out that I dance because my doctors that I work with, my resident doctors, one of them had saw one video of temper tantrum and had heard me say I dance once. And since then, it's been spreading like rapidly. And they're like, can you dance? Can you dance? I'd be like, well, here's the company. Here's the videos. I have 2 different teams I used to be on. And there's some on my Instagram. And then there they go.
Indiegogo.
And then, some of the resident doctors, they are student doctors, so they don't get paid much.
Right.
but the actual doctors also know how I work.
Wow.
So they're like, my manager, I had also, she's like, so can you teach my daughter to dance?
Wow.
There it
Yeah,
is.
that-
Can you
Always
pay
the
me?
funniest things.
Like,
Are you gonna pay?
Just do what
Can
I
you
do think
dance
is
at my
kinda cool,
daughter's
like the
birthday
ones who
party?
have, like, us were kind of like superheroes to regular people.
Oh yeah.
True, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
like you dance, like, and you actually show like,
Whoa!
And it's like your
They're
wackest
like,
set yet.
you had, they
Yeah.
said I had like 3 different
better
personalities.
than your Instagram video.
Yep.
They have my work me where I'm like, or I have the dancer me, which is like all my colorful dyed hair, the different costumes that I would have, and then it's what they call formal me, where I'm like very pretty, put up, all dressed up. And they're like, wow, you look like 3 different people.
See,
Got 3 eyes.
I got depressed.
Depression.
I got depression. I got pastel
Sorrow.
depression and neon
Stupid.
depression.
But that's how they know of us. They still look at our videos too, like all my
Yeah.
resident doctors.
Should we
and
just start
doctors.
name dropping them? What's the doctor's name?
Oh, shit.
I'm just
Well,
kidding.
one of my doctors is a famous TikTok doctor.
Oh shit.
Doctor.
Mhm.
A TikTok doctor. He's a TikToker.
Well, no, she is.
TikToker?
She's a family medicine female doctor, and she
Shout out.
ended up getting famous on TikTok for her.
Oh.
She's a TikToker.
She's a TikToker.
Yeah, she's so nice too,
Doctor.
but she also has that very bubbly personality.
Someone has their hand up.
Yes.
Oh, I do.
Christian.
Christian.
What would you like to share with the class?
No, I was just gonna say it's nice hearing like everyone kind of going through their own journey, but I just wanted to like let anybody know.
He said
whoever's
depression.
watching.
Depression.
As the person that says depression, yeah.
Yeah, right?
But
Depression
but
is my
I
verdict.
do want to mention that I think it's important for everyone to evaluate what's going on like through personally because everyone's journey is going to be different. I think a key thing that I've been learning like the older I get is like toleration levels. Know what you can tolerate, know how much energy you can distribute into what. Because if you just there's a lot of people, especially in the dance community that I've met, where they're balancing everything. But not even balancing. It's not even balancing. It's just one tip of the scale is
Everything.
way down and then it severs connections with other people because it's like, okay, this guy's not making it on time, or this guy's not here again. And it's just it does build a repertoire and people notice it. So again, know your time, know what you can tolerate, know what you're willing to put energy into, because that's the main thing. Because that's something I struggled for the longest time. I'm now just starting to understand that I can dedicate this much time to do certain things, and still be respectful with everyone else's time, because it doesn't just affect you; it also affects others as well, depending on what
Yeah.
you're doing.
I think Temper Tantrum has history of people like that, you know?
Me?
Where we're not, no. Where you have to just be, I always say, be honest to yourself. That's the best thing. And that includes work, dating, dance. Be honest to yourself. What can you take and what can you not?
Yeah.
Whether that's, I know we love to dance, so you're like, any dance opportunities? Yeah. But when you're doing 4, 5 different dance opportunities,
It's too much. Slow
it's
down.
just too much.
Yeah.
So like
Yeah.
that's too much dance, one. But also physically, that's a little too much.
Mm.
Time-wise, it's too much. If you're dating, there's just no way that's even anywhere balanced. If you're throwing work in there, that's also no way that's
Yeah.
So be honest to yourself, because even we've had
Too
dancers
much rice.
who were on Temper Tantrum who struggle bust that
Yeah.
the whole time of like, just be honest to yourself what you can and cannot do.
Something that I will always appreciate with like just you as board, because I joined Temper Tantrum in the past, and this last past 2
He was
and a half
cut.
years.
No.
You
I
was
just
too
everyone
excited.
batted me. I lost. I just had to
Completely
go
lying.
away.
I'm completely lying.
That's why we went back to me.
Yeah, that's why
No.
you went to Minnesota.
Get back to me.
That's where you went.
Bring the North here to the West Coast.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
It's really where you went.
Yeah, that's where you went.
That
wasn't a joke.
We joined the same year, and
Yeah.
I was like, "Where did Spellers go?"
Yeah, I
Like that entire time.
Yeah, I was going through a lot of troubles. A lot of stuff just happened, and boom, 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 and I just had to be honest to the board. I mean, I believe I messaged you directly.
Yeah.
And and I had to, because the reality is I was not in a good spot anywhere. I was really in a bad spot. But now that I came back, obviously, because I know I can pick myself up.
Yeah.
I can be independent of myself. I just moved recently. New job like in the past 2 months. So a lot of the stuff I started getting back on track. But again, I planned it. I made sure to know what I can tolerate. I know my time. I know how much time I'm willing to dedicate.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's super important, especially like honestly, like with you guys, I'm relationship wise, I wish I did that with my past relationships too. Because you guys are being in context, okay, what do we prioritize? What do we want to focus on our future or do we want to have fun now? Like, cause that's an option too. If you guys want to just
Yeah.
we going to Coachella.
I'm right here.
Yeah,
But like,
to be fair, like of the youngsters relative to us, like the 21-year-olds are the most responsible I've ever seen. Because when I was in my 20s, I was fucking stupid.
I'm still stupid.
We were talking about this, like the 20-year-olds, like the youngsters, are really responsible.
Yeah.
How are you guys not showing up to rehearsal like freaking hungover?
Yeah.
Or
During
stoned?
21, I was a mess, partying with GRV every night. That's not
Oh,
good.
yeah.
So like watching you guys of like we're
I don't come
balancing our
to
work
work
life
hungover.
and our careers and our relationships together. I'm
Show up
like,
to working class.
yeah, me too.
They have a plan B. She has a plan B. I didn't even have a plan.
What's the plan?
Your parents
Plan.
must be
My
proud.
plan was just to quit dance.
N-E. Yeah, and they're over here like.
What are letters?
I think it's the way we were raised.
Oh, so you
they
saying
got
I'm
way-
So you saying I'm ghetto?
It's the
So
way
you're better than me?
It's the way
You think you're better than me?
it's the way we took how we were raised.
Mhm.
Because you can.
Yeah.
It's always
It can
the
help.
after effect.
It can help. Yeah,
Mm.
100%.
Because I didn't have anyone to tell me where to go, what to do. It's just they just told me to get straight A's and took the hard way.
Yeah.
Mm.
That's a whole
It's-
new topic. Other topic.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a whole new
It's
topic.
it's when we said balance. It's you got to be disciplined. If you care about this stuff, you'll find a way to make it work. These two are prime examples of that. They're very, very disciplined. So yeah,
I mean,
good for you two.
Also, like
Cookies.
if you want to dance, like it depends. Like I love the grains of rice thing and how
Yeah.
everyone's talking about like how much are you willing to invest, because I think like there's a wide variety of what it means to be a dancer. Like you can be a dancer, that doesn't mean you're a full-time dancer. You can be a teacher and like at a regular school, not like a dance teacher, and be a dancer. You can be a nurse and be a dancer, like. But then you can also be a professional dancer where that's where you do what you do the majority of the time. And like no matter what, if you love it, you'll find a way to make it work.
yeah.
Because like for me, I spend $600 a month on myself as a dancer. Just that's my budget for dance classes, massage
Wow.
therapy,
Makes sense.
Oh, that's
Um,
nice.
my
Oh, I see.
chiropractor, like all the things that are required for me to dance at the level that I am, and like to dance with the amount of hours that I'm doing and the training that I want to get while I'm here in LA, because the training's not better anywhere else in my opinion.
No.
New York is great, but like I'm in LA, I want to take advantage of it, so I give myself a budget of $600 a month. Sometimes that means that I have to drive Lyft on Friday night until like 1 a.m. because that's when you make the most money driving for Lyft.
Yeah.
And it sucks. It's a pain in the ass. I get drunk people in my car. It's terrible. But like that's when you make the most money driving for Lyft. So I'll just do it because I want to. If I don't make enough money to be able to spend that money on myself, then I don't get to spend that money on myself and my training. So like if you want it bad enough, you'll like make it work. And then when you're doing it, you love it so much that it's worth it. The journey is the most important part. There's no destination. It's just a journey the whole time.
Yeah, even
Yeah.
though like we say
Thanks,
ours is
Miley.
structured, I'm
Miley Cyrus.
enjoying the ride the entire time.
Yeah.
I'm going back to what we were saying about Brandon. You'd mentioned about knowing like what is it? Just kind of prioritizing. Was it maybe not that word exactly, but an example of this. Not taking on too many things. We just had mix and match. A number of us weren't there. I wasn't there because it was going to be the first week of school, so I just knew that's not something I'm going to be able to balance. I know what I'm good at. I know what I can do, and I also know what I need to prioritize. Talked about it earlier. Find a group of people or find a job, find a crew, find a company that's willing to understand your limitations. Because if you guys had come to me or if I'd come to Emeroy, if I went up to you and was like, yo, look, mix and match, I'm not going to be able to make. And if it was like, yo, well, you have to. You're part of this company. You got to be there. Then I'd be like, yo, fucking cut me then because I can't do that. Like, I'm not willing to jeopardize.
You did another thing similar to that not too long ago. When we were casting for the parts to be danced in, you were like, I don't have time. Just put me in one, do me some air flares. And
And so...
Do me some air flares.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So, like, and that's because, like, I do what I can to try and balance it. So... For those of you that are really struggling with that or really like, oh my God, I can't give all of myself to this, or how do I give all of myself to this? Maybe you can't. And learn that. All right? Don't think that just because you're part of a company or because you're part of a job that you need to hit their standards, whoever they are. You know yourself. You know what you're capable of. And maybe it takes a little time to figure that out. You know, I've been dancing for a long time. I know what I can take on. I know what I want to prioritize. So, you know, learn it. Learn it.
That's also a good point. Just boundaries in general in the workplace.
Yeah.
Because you're not being a team player if you're not there.
I thought we were a family.
That's again one of the reasons why I don't call it a family. But